All right. Continuing our little thief's mission of probably maybe trying to in some way steal some armor, if that is an option. And as anyone knows, the smartest thing to do when you're potentially going to steal from someone is to introduce yourself to everybody in the building.
Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozens getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
Admittedly, if I take out the big bad problem in the Heritage Hill, I can't stop thinking of Hermitage for some reason. If I took care of the Heritage Hill problem, I figure that might really assuage the whole situation with the armor that they probably don't care about in the first place. Some beat up armor that's probably not even good in the first place, but has sentimental value just against someone they're maybe spiteful towards. Why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Haomar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
With so many newcomers, can't you just recruit more soldiers? More recruits means more training, which means more time from experienced soldiers that I don't have. He half turns away from you. Anyhow, it's hard to see how any of this is of your concern. But if you've got the time to ask me about it, then perhaps you've got time to do something constructive. Forge Master Dunstan is working on it with an animancy scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights, warriors that can patrol our streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitator throws a rock at him, we don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around the last few times my novitiates have checked. Viana lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scrivener's dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, just bring it to Dunstan. This is his area of expertise anyway. Once you've brought him the research, he can sell you any arms or armor if you have need. He forges and repairs all of our equipment. You won't find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. But there's something else I could do for you? You're in charge of the Crucible Knights? Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and keep order for the Duke. Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. He crosses his hands behind his back. We are the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in the Deerwood for that matter. We defended the city in Hadrit's day. We've improved our training since then, but Dunrid Rowe can certify that many of our officers come from good Deerwooden fighting stock. Now we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, that's become more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly among the dozens and some of the more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. What do the dozens have against you? He snorts. They're demagogues and troublemakers. They forget that Defiance Bay is one of the larger cities in the world, and not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on a good day and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they have no patience for law and order. Tell me about these enterprising families. House Dominel, namely. They're one of the city's oldest noble families and its largest criminal organization. Their patriarch, Gedmar, has been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand his operations. They've kept on top of him, and he hasn't been too happy about that. I see. Goodbye. More and more fractally expanding quests. Oh boy. Some of these are large scale though, which makes them less immediately relevant think I already have Crucible Knight Part 1. Yeah. The Edict of Arrest. It's a quest item. Oop, 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 oop. Calm down. Wasn't ready for the thief icon. Edict of Arrest added to stash. This edict calls for the arrest of Aeorn, whose recent actions have led to the death of a knight of the Crucible. It requests reporting any information to Justicar Aldmar. Judiciar Aldmar. It is signed Commander Cliver. I've never heard that. I only know Justicar from video games in the first place, so I'm not really ready for Judiciar to be added to the list of things. Oh god. I think I might have just gotten a quest. Oh, all the way down here. People are missing, and there's a wanted person in this tasks category, which is separate from quests. Honestly, I'd be better off if they were location-based than categorized. Yep, this is gonna get out of hand. Still, I might as well finish. I went entrance here, here. I haven't been to the archives, the forge, or the barracks. I believe the archives is where you want to go. Yeah. Oh, an archive in the Ducal Palace. That might not be the right place. I can check anyway. I mean, I'm gonna check anyway. I'm gonna be here regardless. So we'll take a look. Maybe I can find some of those books I've been hoping to find. Okay, we're gonna have to close this door.
Slow and silent.
Because I want documents. Oh, gotta add to the stash. There's a record of active patrols and reported crimes in Andra's gift. The latter far outnumber the former. Something new got added. Penhelm's affidavit. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed by Dunrid Row, does hereby certify that Novitiate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. The scroll stamped with the seal of Dunrid Row, signed by both Penhelm and Curran. The question is, how much does it matter? Huh. Underwhelming find. Do I already have that one? No. Unless I read it already. Hi! Don't mind me, we're not sneaking. Hi, how are you doing? I'll talk. Won't be long before a formal knighthood.
Yes?
That really is all they ever talk about.
Yeah.
The guy was right.
I'm on the trail.
Adir Customs, another edict of arrest.
I can do that.
I can do that.
As requested.
Wow, it's full of garbage. Why? Why do they lock up these things? Edict calls for the arrest of Aeorn. It's the same edict. Okay. Okie dokie, I guess. We found Penhelm's affidavit, which is related to the quest if we want to defame him. But they may not be necessary for our goal. Seems like a lot of hoops to go through just to get a chess piece, so if I could just pick it up, all sneaky-like, then we don't need to deal with any of that shit. Unless it turns out he's the type of person you really want to get kicked out. Thick grime cakes the bottom of the tub. The towel hangs from the side, gives an awful stench. Oh god, they all have one tub. The thing's gotta have some heavy use. Although I imagine in this kind of setting they bathe less. Although they value their own purity so heavily, maybe that's not true either. Dunstan, that's supposed to be the guy that... Isn't the guy that... No. No. He's the guy that's the good blacksmith, who is not the same person that I'm supposed to defame if I want to take that route with that quest.
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
Commander Cleaver said you're working with an animancer to build Forge Knights.
So much for his talk of secrecy. Aye, I'm building Cleaver's metal warriors. He says they're what we need to keep order in Defiance Bay, so...
How are you creating these forged knights? Suits of armor and souls. Cleaver's had me repairing and reinforcing unused armor for months now, so we can just fill them with some poor sod's essence. He wipes his shining brow. As long as that Scholar girl's got her numbers right, infusing the armor with a soul won't be that hard. But that's not what bothers me. Yeah, it's probably the fact that you're gonna put a fucking soul in it, right? Also, we're just throwing souls around these days. Isn't there like a problem where people are born soulless and now we're gonna use souls to power knights? And like nobody's even like mentioned the creepy part of this. Do you disagree with Cleaver about the Forge Knights? I disagree with him on near about everything, and this is no exception. These Forge Knights won't solve our manpower problem. He can call them what he wants, but they aren't knights. Also, are people really willing to have animancers creating new experiments to patrol the city when the animancers are being blamed for losing an entire district of the city that's currently still full of monsters? Doesn't take Ichimak's nose to smell trouble here. A group that can't stand together is headed for a fall. Oh, you think the trouble here is their division and not the Animancer Knights? He folds his arms and looks at the ground. And don't get me started on the other problem. Those souls he's bought to power the Forge Knights, Cleaver keeps telling himself that they came from willing donors, but he knows better. There's a reason you have to buy souls through less than legal channels. We should be clearing those scavengers off the road, not doing business with them. That's probably true. If you're so goddamn pure, like, buying black market souls seems like an awfully questionable thing to be the basis of your patrols now. And you need Vienna's research to complete them. He's been working out a method to transfer the souls into the armor. Getting the process just right is critical. He holds up one hand. Bind the souls too tightly, and you get something like those flesh constructs at the sanitarium, barely bright enough to avoid walking into a wall. He raises his other hand, but bind them too loosely and they'll be too self-aware for their own good, mad killers in metal bodies. Something equivalent of exchange, alchemy. Enough about the Forge Knights. If only. What do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
Tell me about the Knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connections to the Deerwood's heroes of old. He picks up his hammer again. Other than Deerwood Row, who really knows about any of that, though? Goodbye. Built to last. The Crucible Knights weren't always soldiers. We used to be blacksmiths. Yeah, where'd you go wrong? Tongues of flame lick at the forge, hissing with smoke as hot as a dragon's breath. Tongs, hardies, hammers, fullers, and punch tools hang from the wall. They feel heavy and sturdy, but their flame-darkened surfaces testify to frequent use. There's Penhelm. Guy we're gonna get along great with, apparently. Wow, I don't see any armor to steal. That's not good for my... unless it's down here. I'm gonna just nab it. The blades are razor sharp.
Gods keep you.
The young novitiate's armor is recently shined, and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle, or that the scarred, antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Oh, he's wearing it. That's not helpful. I must have misinterpreted something. I thought he was just the guy who was guarding the armory or whatever. But he's the guy who's physically wearing the armor that he wants back. Are you looking for something? He might have a forged history then, because if he's all snooty and clean and rich looking, then he might have actually just paid his way in. Does the name Osric sound familiar? He sniffs. If you've got any self-respect, you won't associate with him, or with any of his new friends at the Expedition Hall. For that matter, scamps and delinquents, a lot of them. What's the story between you two? Osric has always held some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. He frowns and crosses his arms. He finally went too far. He had the gall to suggest we had strayed too far from our roots, that some of our officers were beginning to resemble a dear nobility. He rubs a spot on his bracer with a silk handkerchief. Yeah, no self-awareness here. He would have us all wear rough spun and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. That history made the Knights what they are now. You can't just cast it aside. We've outgrown the past. You say that, but your leader literally will not let anyone in based on their past. He waves a shining gauntlet. Sometimes you need to move on. Sagani frowns. Outgrown it? Like an old sealskin coat? You adapt with the times, sure, but that's a bit naive. That is breastplate you're wearing? It was. He looks down and admires it. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. What happened to moving on from your past? Now you're wearing the... God damn it. He says your affidavit's a forgery. Just what would he know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions. What with his pedigree in the Knights. He folds his arms. He blinks at you. It's a lie, of course. You took a while to say that. Enough about Osric. On that we can agree. How does someone become a knight? We don't just take anyone. Our members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land a century and a half ago. He shifts his weight and coughs. Anyhow, Commander Cleaver is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Was there anything else? Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. We're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. The Order's founders were the first to rally for Deerwood and independence. He waves a hand. Of course, that's ancient history now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in the Deerwood. It's a glorious line of work. He scrunches up his nose. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. Farewell. Alright. Well, he's douchey enough that I'm like, alright. Let's go digging. But yeah, I can't just sneak into a room and steal it the way I thought it might be possible. So there goes that idea anyway. Wow, a lot of updates happening up there in the corner. A concerning number of updates. Alright, so let's go back to Rogue Knight then. I have the affidavit. I need to go to Kurin. The cipher who signed off on Penhelm's affidavit works at Hadrid House in Brackenbury. God. Going to every single district. It's fine. We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. I've also got an update back at... Oh, the game's paused. I've also got an update back at base. I'll do that.
Gather your party before venturing.
It's so loud. I'm never ready for dialogue in that context, so I'm always startled when he says that.
Sagani, does your fox bite?
Yes.
Can I pet him anyway?
It's your hand.
I'm gonna pet him.
I'm gonna pet him. I think that is actually a quote from something, like that particular exchange. But like, you're fine. You've got armor on. You can take it. So what happened? Nyrid has escaped the dungeons. Doesn't even say when he arrived, does it? Nyrid the Deft Hand left the stronghold. Various things are getting done. Still working on the Western Barbican at the moment, I think. Yep, finished in 1 day. Nyrid escaped the dungeons. Son of a bitch. Well, good to know that my dungeons have a 100% failure rate so far. That's not a good sign. We're gonna have to step it up so I can actually capture people. And to think, that was me choosing to not to do a kill on him, even though I killed everybody else. So it's yeah. Only important people get to be imprisoned. Everybody else, all their men always die. The morality of the time. So we're going to Brackenberry now. I'm like gonna glimpse at so many different regions here. I think this is a nice system though, to try to complete quests continuously instead of exploring constantly. You do end up completing most of the quests just by completing each map, but I think the episodes become more incoherent, and we can especially lean towards coherency when the episodes are an hour long. So there's connection to the gift, there's the sanitarium, which we've heard about. House Dominel, we've also heard about them. The Charred Barrel, Raymond Manor, and Copper Lane. We've heard about a few of these places. Maybe I will pay Raymond to visit since there's a theft coming. Or I can look for the person as the woman is absorbed in a book, muttering softly as she reads. I won't like aggressively explore, but I'll try to find the right spots. Hadrid House in Brackenbury. Oh, there it is. I guess I'll go there then. I missed that icon. Lara Resin. We'll maybe leave Lord Raymond for later. At least I know where he is now. Oh, this is a big house. Oh, it's a big house. Hadrid House is a big house. The marble at the base has been worn smooth by the passage of hundreds of feet. Bunch of Dunrid agents. There's Kieran. A link. Yes, I'm certain of it.
Good day, stranger.
The Orland man is surrounded by books and scrolls. His wiry hair stands nearly on end, and his ears prick up as you approach. You carry whispers. Cadnua. Gilded Veil. Old voices indeed. How did you know? The Orland grins, revealing a row of dagger-pointed teeth. As a cipher, it's my job to know these things. You carry the whiff of ancients. What else can you tell me? His ears twitch downward. Not as much as I would like, unfortunately. My duties for Lady Webb require me to focus my talents elsewhere. He regards a table piled with scrolls. What brings you to Dunrid Row? Is this affidavit real? It's signed by you. He holds the page but seems to stare through the words, as if at something woven in the fabric of the paper. Curran bares a pointed teeth. I remember Penhelm. A preening peacock of a man, his mouth dry and hands moist when I told him he was a sole descendant of an Adarian general. One who'd fought against Hadrid's rebellion. He scans the affidavit. A forgery, and not the first I've seen. He hands it back to you. But I've no time for the knights and their obsessions. Bring this to his commander, Cliver, and show him the seal. He points to the wax stamped by his forged signature. If he compares it with another, he should be able to spot the difference. Aloth's gaze flickers at you. Doom a man for the soul the gods gave him? Seems rather unfair. If I have proof that it's a forgery, maybe I could just use it to force him to give me the chess piece without destroying his career. Because I don't know if I care about it being a forgery. I just know that it's leverage on him. It looks as though you could use some help. Curran wags a clawed finger. Not at liberty to discuss my work, unfortunately. Dunwood wrote, ears only. A civilian would need the confidence of Lady Webb before I could share. What are you so busy with? His small furry hands gesture expansively at the papers before him. Hollowborn, growing unrest, and the ever-present political intrigues. With so many missing souls, missing persons are the least of our concerns these days. Tell me about your skills. I check for soul connections, looking for lost things, missing things, or troublesome things, particularly where people of power and influence are concerned. I'm a cipher. In Ire Glynfoth, we were once known as Brishelgwyn. Mind Hunters. Nice title, yes. But it wasn't until the Animancers began working with my kind 40 years ago that we truly understood our power. Now, we make some of the best detectives in the world, tracing souls. We can look at a person and see where they have been, or look at a weapon and see who has touched it. His nose twitches as he looks at you. Useful for solving crimes, as you can imagine. Farewell. Map shows the environment surrounding Defiance Bay. Flags mark strategic access points to the city. This is going to be an interesting place full of interesting characters, and I'm going to run scurrying away from it for now. And we're going to leave that for a later time. I'm already opening too many doors. I got what I wanted. I'm going to get out of this region now before it gets too late. Before I start getting into trouble. What? Wow. Wow, he really came right over here. Penham's face is white. Just talked to that little cipher, did you? One of my novitiates told me he'd seen someone in the records room. Oh, yeah, he did. Was that a scripted thing where I was looking around in the records room and that one person walked in and opened the door and then just said generic dialogue and walked away? Then they told on me? I think that's what happened. He takes a slow step towards you, extending his hand. Give me the affidavit. I've done nothing to you. His other hand comes to rest next to his sword. Wow, his current behavior is skewing the scale a little bit here. What does this mean to you? Are you serious? This is my career. I've labored years for it, and it all hangs on some coincidence of a past life. Any Deerwooden, rich or poor, can aspire to a position in the Crucible Knights. Anyone can rise to the rank of High Justice, except for those of us born on with the wrong soul. Tell me how that's reasonable. There's no option here to just leverage it to get the goddamn chess piece, which is all I want. I can't just I'm not gonna just give it to him without the implication of a bargain. But I'm also not necessarily taking a grandstand here. Maybe if I threaten him with the reality of what's gonna happen, he'll bargain with me. Or maybe he'll just attack me. I don't know. I don't know. There's an option I want, and it's not here. Cheer up. You always thought you were someone special. Soon everyone will know who you are. He draws his sword and spits onto your feet. I won't let you ruin me over this. Why couldn't one of the options just be give me the goddamn chess piece then? A trade. I feel like it's really natural for that to be one of the options in this situation. I don't really care about his career. I don't care about ruining his career, as in, I don't intend that. I'm just trying to complete the goal. And now they're all trying to kill me. Now a bunch of knights are all gonna die because I wanted to because somebody wanted their chess piece back for their family, heirloom. And it's like, well, now there's a bunch of blood involved in that, and that's unfortunate. But such is the language of these games, I guess. Violence is kind of a go-to. Weapon effective, Sagani. Yeah, because they're all in very heavy armor. Alright. This is actually an enemy. This is actually an order. I'm hopefully not going to be in bad graces with the organization, because these guys are clearly acting out of turn by being mobilized by one of their guys as like a hit squad, essentially. So I imagine their higher ups are going to be like, no, that guy was out of line. Or I would hope. Let's do some chain lightning through the crowd. You ready for your knockdown already? Ooh. They're scattering amongst the group now. That's not good news for me. Alright. Adair, I need you to move on. You need to engage some of these targets because there's too many dudes all over us right now. Let's try blinding them because they're all up in our shit right now.
Can't get a good shot with this.
Okay, Adair, at least hit this guy. You're just standing there because you got stuck. At the moment, we're doing okay. Oh yeah, he didn't take the bouncing lightning very well. Wasn't a fan. See, now you guys are going to be in real trouble. Unfortunate positioning. Oh well. There we go. Threw a few threw shouts around. Oh no, he interrupted the fox, who I'm sure is totally my mainstay of this party. I don't know how I'll get along without the fox. Chain lightning. Bad fit for you. This should resolve itself at this point. There you go. We were caught and things got messy, and he got violent. Pretty generic items, bit of money. Well. There goes the, yep. So that was totally a variable that could have not happened, it looks like. So they caught me, is what happened. They caught me in that room. Which, because show the affidavit to the Commander Cliver is an objective. So I take that to mean that you can do that. Unless it was a fake out objective, because that might have become my objective at the time. And then we get targeted by Penhelm, so that it gets quote-unquote solved and completed because it no longer becomes relevant. That might be the case. Or it might be that you actually can not get caught and then go show it to him and everything. Either way, he's dead. Unnecessary. But apparently neither he nor I were smart enough to think of having a bargain path where we trade the affidavit for the breastplate. Which probably would have left Aloth happier, because he's clearly got a soul problem we need to dig into by having some dialogue with him sooner or later. There's a lot of party dialogue to get through, but he's clearly got a thing with a past soul that he's trapped with that's awakened in a similar way to what we saw before, and so he's touchy about this idea of dooming somebody for the souls they're stuck with, and that makes sense. And that's part of why I was planning on not killing him, but then he tried to kill me. And then the whole quest just kind of wraps itself up if that happens. Never been over there yet. We'll consider that for later. Where am I right now? Oh, that's because I've never been to the side of town yet. I didn't realize where we'd spawned in. Gotta get all the way to the expedition hall. Look at him go. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I appreciate the fact that the fox understands formations. It's just funny to me. Is this the armor you wanted? Osric wavers a moment in disbelief. He looks at you, then back at the breastplate. He reaches for it slowly as if expecting it to disappear before he can touch it. How did you manage this? You were right about the affidavit. Unfortunately, Penhelm forced me into a fight. A shame it ended like that. But he's the lying weasel who started this. You did all I asked, and you are owed much. He withdraws a leather coin purse from his pocket and hands it to you. Stop by Sona's shop on the other side of the hall. She sells some of the best gear in the city, and I'll see that she opens her inventory to you. What is this armor to you anyway? Ah, it's nothing really. Just a keepsake. 2,000 copper and a pile of experience. He tries to look you in the eye, but when he does, he appears to reconsider. He sighs. It commemorates the Order of Magran, highest order of valor, awarded to the dead, never the living. Us dear Woodens, real dear Woodens, we don't have nobility or birthrights, unless you're some copper fucker from a deer. All we got's the honor we bring to our family name. Ah, copper fucker, that's a new one. So this, he pauses, considering the weathered metal, a pale image of its former self, but still catching the light, is something to live up to. I'd like to hire an adventurer. Maybe more than one by the look of you. I'll show you who's available. Okay, it is just the same menu. I was curious, because they send expeditions out, so I was curious if that was like a mechanic or something. I have 7 grand right now. More than I'm used to having. And we get all the more close. New update? A Wreath of Ash is added. The quest expires in 2 days. Oh. Well. I guess I should hustle then. Before I get in trouble. A Wreath of Ashes. Rewards 15% experience. What does that mean? Like 15% of an experience meter? Remembrance Ashes. 150 to 300 copper and treasure. Minor item. Duration 2 turns. Huh. I think this is the stuff where you have tasks you can send your allies on when you have too many party members. It might not be worth dealing with right now. Yeah, I mean, it's not a real quest. It's one of those send your guy on a mission things from like Star Wars The Old Republic and stuff like that. Like stronghold missions from WoW and things like that. I wouldn't really make it a priority probably, unless it looks like it has cool stuff. For now, I would just, since I don't have a person to send it on, I would just not do it. But maybe in the next 48 hours, I'll encounter a new party member. Time is moving relatively slow right now. Going from map to map only makes 15 minutes go by, although I'm not really that aware of how fast time's going by in real time, usually.
How do you do?
So the wilds haven't claimed you yet, she smiles. Good to see you again. Show me your wares. The exceptional arbalist. That's neat. I can't make exceptional weapons yet, so if they show up here, they're my only chance to get one. You only get fine arquebuses, though. Still. Oops. Same damage at a faster speed and longer range. Crits can make prone. 8 accuracy, 30% damage, lose the DR bypass. Maybe, maybe not. How expensive was it though? Very, as it turns out. Bracers of all-consuming rage, 2 might, 1 constitution. Neat. Dandy hat of the diseased yak. 2 resolve, -1 intellect. Snurf's folly. Snurf. 1 resolve, 2 constitution. Not a bad tank ring, perhaps. Bile stompers. Minor fetid caress. 3 per rest. Gross. I can't click on it to know what it is. That's annoying. And 5 DR against corrode. Cloak of the Fox and the Hunter. +5 will and 9 reflex. Grants summon noble creature. There's a lot of items in here. Munakra's Arret. Whisper of Treason. Ooh. Maybe that's like a charm or a mind control spell? Berserker's Belt. Only usable by Barbarian, which I don't have, so blip. But it causes increased frenzy duration. Hat of the diseased yak. There's some good stuff in here. Also reminds me that I should be doing this. I can't help it. People just keep dying on me, so I got all their stuff. Whoops. Whoopsie doodle. Nope. That was an accident. Okay. That's another grand right there. Taking us to over 8 grand. Yeah. There's some worth considering stuff here. The bracers of consuming rage is interesting. 2 might and a constitution, but I gotta look into the whole stacking stuff problem. 2 dexterity. Might be better for my main character even. Yeah, a lot of people don't even have bracers, so it'll find its uses. But if I'm not careful, they'll accidentally stack it with a character who already has those stats, and then they won't apply or something. I also do kind of want those two intellect helm. You don't have any intellect right now, right? Reflex. I might go buy that helm right now. But Sonald can be kept in mind for later. Oh. I guess I left Ed there off in the middle of nowhere over there. He just came running in from a completely different direction.
Yeah.
We're out of that mud hole, Gilded Vale.
Oh no, are they all gone?
Grew up in Gilded Vale.
Hello.
They're not gone. Pike's Pride. The Dunrid Demon. Bloop. That's a cool one. I like that one.
Quaint. That's what I meant to call it. No, you had it right.
Yeah.
I grew up in Gilded Vale. Ba-boom! That's a cool look. And you get a hat. I guess. You're not getting intellect from anything else, are you? Will. Please don't give intellect. So yeah, you get that, I guess. Because the intellect will expand his chant range, right? I believe that's correct. Influences durations and area of effect of all abilities and talents. Yep. So I want as much intellect as possible. Can I enchant it to be even better? Probably not. Yeah. I don't usually expect Helms to have that kind of option. Alright, it's about time, I suppose. The most unfortunate tale of Favia and Bernet, a Valian tragedy. Scene. Laia watches Bernet approach Favia's tree, looking for her human form. I'm guessing, yeah. So Bernet is a dude, Laia is a woman, I think. Yeah. Behold, now comes the fun. That for which I have waited. His love is forfeit. Her life is forfeit. And all I have worked toward shall be fulfilled. He says he knows his love. He says no force in the world could keep him from her. But what chance has force against guile? Never will he find his love, for she is no longer his love. The spell cannot be undone except by her death, and by then it will be too late. But wait, he has seen her. Laia steps back to observe. Pray, mortal. So it's two female characters then, right? Yeah. Oh, Laia and Favia, right. Pray, mortal. Why have you come here? These woods are not for your kind. The affairs of men have no place at this tree. Leave. Leave ere your welcome lapses. Foul creature, where is my love? What have you done with her? Always this has been the station for our encounters. Never before have I seen you. Where is my love? Answer, ere my patience lapses. Fool, this is my land, and this is my tree. Your presence never before has been felt. Again, I say to you, leave. My generosity will not be extended a third time. Laia steps forward again. Talk? Discussion? I know the way to hurry the conclusion of this tale. Laia takes a breath and extends her throat as if she's yelling. A scream comes from the corpse, the copse of trees where the Pigra stands. My love. Bernet steps forward, brandishing his sword. Prepare yourself, wretch, for not even death can stand between me and my love. I will have her from you, or you will meet your end. Bernet moves towards Favia, who closes to fight. They fight. During the fight, Bernet is grievously injured as he delivers the killing blow to Favia. He falls to the ground, and as she dies, the spell on her breaks, transforming her back into her Delemgan form. Bernet, my love, what have you done to me? What was it I said? What was it I did? Has our love soured in your heart? Favia, my love, my life, what foul sorcery has befallen you? How have you come to be laid low by my hand? Fie, fie to the gods for such treachery, fie to all who stood in our way. Fear not, my beloved, for now we are together, and together we will always be. Nothing can keep us apart, but lo, why is it suddenly so dark? Where is the sun gone? Where are you? I cannot see you. I will find you, I will... Favia dies. A curse upon the fiend who has betrayed me, to hold love in your hand and to have it wrenched away. Bernet winces and puts his hand in his shirt. It comes out covered in blood. What luck! What chance! Tragedy may yet turn to fortune. Favia, my love, soon I will rest in your arms. We will lie together again as one, and forever shall we be side by side. I go now to meet my love. Bareth, I accept your cold embrace. I welcome your company. I beg your mercy. Bareth lies down next to Favia's body. I am ready. Bernet dies. Laia steps out from her hiding spot and turns to Bernet's body. Bernet, you fool, you wretch! How can you leave me? I am alone. I am forgotten, I am cast out. Without your love, how can I continue? Life holds no thrall without your visage upon which I may gaze. What shall I do? But here, my salvation, my answer. Laia picks up Baronet's sword. His blade, his weapon. I shall be impaled upon him, and he shall cut through me. I will not be denied my love. I will not be denied my love. You will be mine, if not in this life, then in the next. Laia impales herself on the sword. I come for you, my love, my Baronet. Wait for me and I will find you. We shall love forever. Laia dies. Jesus Christ. I want to one-up Romeo and Juliet by having a third death added to the mix, making a love triangle death. Except it's not a love triangle because it seems to just be a third party that's just jealous of a partnership, basically, and what that entails. Let's separate these a little bit because you're getting a little out of sorts with the patterns here. There we go. Still need to find Deerwood Part 3. Then we can start going through the history of the Deerwood. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm amazed that that's the only one I can't find. Oh yeah, this one too. Admit Hadrit Part 2. Did I already read Part 1? That might be one of the ones where I've already started it. Just like I've already done Development of a Crucible Knight, Part 1. A lot of Crucible Knights going on here. No, I don't think I've ever found Part 1 of Hadrit, but I've found 2 copies of Part 2, because of course I have. It'd almost be nice if they did that thing where they cheat and just give you them in chronological order no matter what order you find them in, just so you don't have this weird problem. How long has a fine arbalist been in your... Oh, right, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with the change I made. Alright. I'll double check my old video to look at the arquebus that the guy was selling, just to see how good it was, because that's probably something I want to do next with my money, now that I seem to have a lot of it again. But we're overdue to do this. No. I don't think we have new dialogue with Aloth. Nope, Aloth is keeping his own secrets for now, until we encounter the right character or occurrence to have him dig a little deeper, I suppose.
I'm here.
Sagani? Tell me about Itumak. She scratches behind his ear. A good hunter, but not much of a talker. But that's been fine by me. When we hunt in Nasatak, we almost always bring our foxes with us. They help us track and flush game, and they're fearless defenders against the bears and snow leopards. Clever Itumak has always been my favorite. He wags his brushy tail. Hasn't she been on this journey for a long time? So, like, foxes must last a long time in this universe. I don't remember how long her journey has been, though, but I would guess like 7 to 10 years, if I remember correctly. But, like, it's a lot of a fox's life. Asking what you do back in Nasatuk is just kind of funny, considering who I am. What are your thoughts on my search? She frowns. Helps to know what you're hunting. You've got a lot of tracks to follow, but where they'll lead is anyone's guess. What do you do back in Nasatuk? I'm a long hunter. I stalk game across the tundra with some of the other wives. We usually hunt caribou and oxen, but we find hares and birds too. It's a good and respected position. To see so much of Nasatuk in the company of my friends and sisters, this is one of the pleasures of life in Masuk. You have family back in your village? Of course. We'd never send a woman who hasn't had the chance to find a mate and have a couple of children of her own. Aren't you worried your husband will... Are you kidding? I'm the best shot in Masuk. Oh, for a second there I was like, oh, you're saying that you're a catch, so he wouldn't move on. but you're saying that you're incredibly dangerous. So it's a bad choice to cheat on you. What's your husband like? Kalu's a good man. He's raised our children well and built us a strong home while I've been away on hunts. Our parents chose us for one another when we were still young. Not the way things are usually done here, but ours chose well. She smiles. We came to appreciate each other as helpmates first, then friends. And then, well, you know how it goes. There's a hint of blush below the stripe of face paint. Tell me about your children. About 5. Yakona, Astuya, Nayo, Anik, and Malik. Astuya and Anik died, young and long, lean winters. Malik was barely talking when I left. She scrapes a thumbnail along the handle of her hunting knife. He probably won't know me when I get home. She frowns, her hand falling from the knife. Even in Gnostic, I spent most of my time on the hunt, but then it's easier to relish the hunt when you know I'll see my family enjoying our kill. I'm curious about your search for Persok. I'll tell you what I can, but Tarnek Ilitsak pilgrimages like mine are rare. Why do your people have this tradition? She pulls the bear figurine out of her satchel, running a finger along its smooth back. It's something we've always done. The elders say it first began to forge ties with other villages. It's hard to fight over caribou herds when you see someone you respect on the other side. We also believe that passing our history on this way keeps us stronger, and it helps them, the elders I mean, return to us after they've been away from us for a generation or more. They can use the experiences they've accumulated over lifetimes to lead the village again. Are the elders usually reborn so far from the village? Most often, they return somewhere in Nasatak, a member of another village, or they're reborn among the glam felon of the white that wends. Even so, it's hard to say what's usual. A mischievous grin crinkles her eyes. When my father was a boy, the elder came back as a polar bear. A huntress chosen for the task had to recite half of her village deeds while running from the beast. Her expression sobers. Even so, there have been journeys longer than mine. Some last decades, and huntresses don't always return. That is a hell of a situation to still commit to telling the story even when they're an animal now. Somehow I don't think it took. What happens when the elder's found? That depends on the man or woman he's become. It's easiest when the rebirth happens in another village of Nasatak, where the tradition is understood. Even in the white that wends in the southern islands of the Deadfire Archipelago, people understand this custom and will welcome you politely enough, even if their souls do not remember. He shrugs. But sometimes you find someone whose soul has no memory of the village, and you have to tell them of people who remember him still. As disheartening as that is, you hope that the reminder will aid his soul in a future life. How did you get picked to come search for Persok? She grins. Another old village tradition. The elders watched the caribou migrations and cast seal bones to determine the right time for this journey. When the omens were determined, all the village wives drew shark teeth. We're the ones that go away to hunt and fish, so we're the best suited for a task like this. Anyway, I grabbed the little tooth, she frowns. Traveling so far is a rare privilege for us, but as you can see, the journey can be unpredictable. Let's move on. Slowly picking away at the backstory of these characters. Didn't learn a ton about her, because that was mostly what we already knew about the journey, or could have inferred from what we were told before, but there's some color there. Like apparently it's usually a nice convenient little thing to bring unity among the clans, because the souls tend to show up in other clans in the area, so you just kind of do a little trip. But in this case, in other cases it can end up in an animal or the other side of the world, and then complications arise. And then somebody is doomed to be on this pilgrimage for so long their children don't know them.